When I was 20 years old, I moved from Denver, Colorado to Östersund in Sweden for a 2-year community college program. Most people thought I was crazy, packing up my life and moving halfway across the world. But I'd always had this deep, unshakable love for nature. Plus, my family had roots in Sweden. My grandfather was born not far from Östersund, though no family remained by the time I arrived. If you've never been, let me paint a picture. Sweden is covered in forests. Almost 70% of the country is trees. Endless pine, birch, and spruce stretching as far as the eye can see. Östersund itself is beautiful but remote. A sleepy city nestled between rolling woods and crystal-clear lakes. The kind of place where you can walk 15 minutes in any direction and find yourself completely alone. It was exactly what I was craving. Being openly gay, I'd worried a little about dating in such a rural place. But Tinder quickly proved me wrong. That's how I met Johan. He was 32, so a little older than me, born and raised in the area. His profile was full of hiking photos, misty mountains, and rugged cliffs. He looked like he belonged to the forest. We hit it off right away. By the time of this story, we were on our 5th or 6th date. Drinks, dinner, even the cliched movie night. We'd done it all. When Johan suggested a day hike, one of his favorite trails about an hour outside of Östersund, I was thrilled. Hiking in Denver had been my therapy growing up. I felt at home among trees and mountains. Late August in Sweden still feels like summer, though you'll know you're far north from the swarms of mosquitoes and the way the light lingers unnaturally late into the evening. We set out in the early afternoon, the trail winding through dense pine forests, carpeted with moss and dotted with tiny lakes that looked like mirrors laid out on the ground. Everything was still, quiet. There's less wildlife this far north. The silence was so pure it almost rang in my ears. We made camp near a clearing. Johan pulled out some packed food and a small bottle of wine. As the golden evening sun filtered through the trees, he fished something else out of his bag, a small pouch of mushrooms. I hesitated. I'd only ever smoked weed, never anything heavier. But Johan laughed, calling me brave enough to move across the world but too scared of a few little mushrooms. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the way he made me feel safe. But I agreed. At first, it was amazing. The trees danced and shimmered like something out of a painting. Colors I didn't have names for swirled around us. We lay in the grass, laughing so hard it hurt, feeling impossibly connected. I remember thinking, this might be the happiest I've ever been. But then something shifted. Johan suddenly stood up, clutching his head. His face twisted in pain. Then he screamed, a raw, primal sound that sliced through the forest. "Get out of my head!" he kept shouting. I froze. My brain, already fogged and distorted, struggled to process. Was this part of the trip? Was I imagining it? Johan looked at me like he didn't recognize me, like he was seeing something else. And then he bolted, sprinting into the darkness between the trees. For a moment, I just sat there, paralyzed. Then panic kicked in. I stumbled to my feet, vision warping, and realized I couldn't stay. I grabbed my backpack and started towards the car. I had no idea where Johan was and shouted his name vigorously as I was tracing back to where we had parked. When I reached the small gravel parking area, my heart dropped. All 4 tires were slashed, shredded like paper. I pulled out my phone. No service. Of course. We were too deep in the wilderness. My mind raced. Had Johan done this? Was it someone else? Remember, I was still tripping balls on mushrooms for the first time ever in my life as this was happening. I decided to walk along the narrow road back toward civilization, hoping to find a signal. The woods pressed in on both sides, shadows flickering at the edge of my vision. Every few minutes I would call out, "Johan?" But no answer. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. I kept catching glimpses of someone in the trees, maybe 50 meters back, I thought I recognized the color of Johann's jacket. Red? Orange? It was all blurring together. I shouted again. Nothing. Walking turned into jogging. Jogging turned into running. Every time I glanced back, they were still there. Silent, keeping the same distance, like a hunter waiting for their prey to tire. I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe half a minute, maybe half an hour. Time didn't work right anymore. Finally, the forest thinned out, and I stumbled onto a massive open field. The sky was dusky, a deep blue bruised with purple, but it was still light enough to see, and that's when the nightmare broke reality. Far out in the field, maybe half a mile away, a figure stood. It was too far away to see in detail, but I instantly sensed that it was looking towards me. I stopped, heart hammering. Was it Johann? Was I still tripping? I squinted, trying to make out the details. Then the figure started moving. No, sprinting. An inhuman speed, eating up the distance like it was nothing. The fear reached new heights as I turned to look behind me. Johann, or who I thought was Johann, was still there, standing on the edge of the woods, watching. But this thing coming at me wasn't him. I ran. I didn't think, I didn't look back. I just ran. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, and the field seemed endless. Just as my legs started to give out, headlights blinded me, a car barreling down a dirt road. I stumbled right into its path, and it slammed on the brakes. A man jumped out, his family, wife and 2 kids, watching from inside the car, wide-eyed with horror. I could barely speak, but I managed to gasp out, "Someone's hunting me!" He hesitated, glancing over my shoulder at the field. But seeing how broken I must have looked, he pulled me into the car. We drove back to the field, but there was nothing. No figures. No sign anyone had ever been there. I begged them to drive me to the nearest police station, an hour away. In the back seat, I curled up, shaking, trying to piece together what was real and what wasn't. Had Johann done all this? Had I imagined it? Could the mushrooms have warped everything that badly? As I sat there, a message buzzed on my phone. It was from Johann. "Babe, are you okay? I'm so sorry I pushed your limits. Let's never do that again. Where are you? Please forgive me." I couldn't even process it. I didn't respond for 2 days. When I finally answered one of his endless missed calls, what he said shook me even more. According to Johann, I was the one who freaked out. I had started screaming, babbling nonsense, and then just ran. He swore he never left the campsite, never touched the car, that the entire episode with the figure on the field was caused by the mushroom trip. We lost contact soon after. I dropped out of school, packed my things, and moved back to the US. I don't think I'll ever know what truly happened that night. It might have been just a bad trip, but my gut tells me that this incident was something far more sinister. What if that family's car never had shown up?